Hi everybody, this video is for string players. It's for violins, violas, and cellos. And it's a way for us to learn some chord symbols and how chords work and how to play over the music using just the chords. We're going to do this over Taylor Swift's song called Blank Space. And this is a play-along video, so if you want to get your violin, your viola, your cello out, you can play along with this video so you can get to know how this whole thing works. Because we're not going to play the melody to the song. What we're going to do is we're going to play what's called the accompaniment, right? We're going to fill the role of what a accompanist would do. A guitar is an accompaniment instrument. A piano is an accompaniment instrument. And the instruments that aren't playing the melody are all accompaniment instruments. So if you're looking at a Taylor Swift song and you're seeing these letters written, we're going to show you how those work and the way that you can play over them. The way that we do that is by writing the letters of each chord in the staff. So you'll see that each measure has 3 notes in it. The other thing that's written is the chord itself written above the music. So in the first measure, you'll see the letter F written above the staff. And so that letter is telling you that the F chord is being played in the beginning of this song. The 3 notes in the F chord are F, A, and C written in the staff. You'll notice that each measure has 3 notes and that all the notes are written so that they're in first position on the D and the A string. And the reason that I did that is just to make it easy for all of us to play. The one thing that's difficult if you're a beginner is that you have to use a low 1 for violins and violas on the A string to reach the note B flat, a low 1 on cellos or an extended first finger to reach that B flat. So, looking at the letters, we're going to look at just those and we're going to play what's called the bass notes. No matter what instrument you play, we're all going to learn how to play the bass notes. And to do that, we're going to ignore the notes in the staff. We're not even going to look at them, and we're just going to look at the letters. We're going to play 4 quarter notes in each measure. And each measure is going to have 4 quarter notes of the letter written above. Notice the second measure doesn't have a letter written above, and that just means that the previous letter carries over into the next measure. So that's good. 2 measures of F, 2 measures of D minor, the MI stands for minor here, 2 measures of B flat major, and then 2 measures of C. So we're going to play 8 Fs, 8 Ds, 8 B flats, and 8 Cs. I have a loop pedal here so that we can build our arrangement and you can play along. However, you can just play along with me here. We're going to start from the beginning. I will count you in. 1, 2, ready, play. And so with that, we have all of our bass notes played. And what I did was I recorded that down here. So what we can do is set that up as a loop in order for us to play over. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the measures themselves. We can't play all 3 notes at the same time. So we're just going to play 1 note at a time. And so what we're going to do is through each measure, just play the bottom note. Okay. So that means we're going to play big, long, whole notes. Okay, so let's play through just the bottom note of every measure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the bass notes so we can play along with that. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Next thing we're going to do is play just the middle notes all the way through. So the middle note in every measure, which in the first measure is an A, right? So let's go through the entire chord guide, get your instruments ready, and play just through the middle note of every measure. 1, 2, ready, play. Good. You can only guess that the next thing we're going to do is play through the top note of every measure. Be warned that there's a B flat in measure 5. So low first finger for violins, extended first finger for cellos. So watch out for that B flat. 1, 2, ready, play. The next thing we're going to do is start to play an arpeggio for each measure. And so I want everyone to try and do is play the bottom note, the middle note, and the top note in every measure. The way we're going to do this is by playing a quarter note, then a quarter note, and then a half note in every measure. So it's going to sound like this: quarter, quarter, half note, bottom, middle, top, bottom, middle, top. Right? So just look at every measure and play the bottom note, the middle note, and the top note through the entire chord progression. 1, 2, ready, play. To know how these chords move, right? We're getting to know the notes in them and how to navigate those notes. Let's try the opposite, where we play the top, middle, bottom. So we're going to play the top note, then the middle note, and then the bottom note of every measure as quarter, quarter, half note. 1, 2, ready, play. Let's try something different. Let's play 2 eighth notes of the bottom note, 2 eighth notes of the middle note, and then do that twice for a total of 8 eighth notes. That might be hard to understand in words, but let me just play it for you and maybe it'll make sense. So F, F, A, A, bottom, bottom, middle, middle, bottom, bottom, middle, middle, bottom, bottom, middle, middle, right? And then the next measure is the same bottom and middle, right? Let's see if we can try this different pattern using eighth notes instead of quarter notes. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Let's try some other patterns. We're just making them up at this point. Let's just keep trying different ones. Let's try playing middle, top, middle, bottom for every measure and quarter notes. So middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom in every measure. 1, 2, ready, play. With this information, you can listen to the song now, and if you wanted to look at this chord guide and play through the whole song uses these 4 chords all the way through. So you can come up with a pattern and try playing it through. You can change patterns midway, so you don't have to necessarily play the same thing all the way through. You can start to make up your own ideas or change gears halfway through, right? There's one other thing I want to talk to, and it's about getting to some of the notes between those chord notes. And there's good ways and not so good ways to do that. So what I want to do is guide you through some of the easy first steps you can take to get to the notes that are outside of those chords. And the concept I want to teach you about is neighbor tones. And the idea behind a neighbor tone is you're going to start at your house, you're going to go to your neighbor's house, and then you're going to go back home again, okay? In music, there's upper neighbors and lower neighbors. And what the neighbor is the next scale degree. So we're in the key of F major. So if I wanted to play the first 5 notes of the F major scale, some of you might know the whole scale already. But what we want to do is look at each chord note and then go to the next scale step above and then come back down. In the first measure, that would be an F to a G to an F for the bottom note. If you're going to do the upper neighbor. If you want to do the lower neighbor of the bottom note, it's F, E, F. And so what you can do is you can go home note, home note, right, for each measure. And what we're going to do is play that for each bottom, middle, top combination, right? So we're going to do it for all the bottom notes, all the top notes, all the middle notes. Follow my lead. We're going to start the bass line here, and I'm going to play the bottom note in a quarter note, the upper neighbor is a quarter note, and back down for each measure. 1, 2, ready, play. Now what I've done is I recorded that starting from measure 2 on my loop pedal. So you can hear when these are all played together at the same time. If you're going to be playing with friends, one of you could choose the bottom note, one of you could choose the middle note, and what they do is they harmonize with each other, and it's in a very nice way. So we'll start from the middle note now. Let's do the middle note and go to the upper neighbor of the middle note. Be careful because there is a B flat in the key signature, so you need to follow that. So you're going to play an A, B flat through all of these measures. Okay, so pay attention because the loop pedal will be playing that bottom note along with us. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. as you can assume, we're going to play the top note, and then we're going to play the upper neighbor of the top note. For violins, you're going to have to play with your fourth finger to reach E, or play open E, depending on your skill level. Violas will have to use fourth finger for sure. And then cellos, you'll have to shift for that note. So what I would recommend is in measure 3, shifting to 2.5 position so that your second finger is on the note D, and then you're going to play the upper neighbor E with your pinky. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. So this is the first step into getting into notes that are outside of the notes that are in the chord. There's strategic ways to nicely put notes that are not in the chord in the music, and some of those ways can be very musical, but they're not guaranteed to sound good. The notes that are in the chord are usually almost always guaranteed to be a good choice. Okay. For those of you who would like to stop here and play along with the song, you're welcome to. I'm going to go one extra step further, okay, and talk to those of us who are more ready to accept a more difficult challenge. And here's what I'd like to propose. If you play in the scale of F major, it's not guaranteed that all those notes are going to be good notes. For instance, if you choose the note E on the first chord, it's going to clash with that chord. Or if you choose the note B flat, that note also isn't going to ring very well with an F major chord, even though it's in the scale. So what that note has to be is what's called a passing note. And so if you're going to play scales and you're going to play soloistic passages, what you need to do is land on chord notes as best you can. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to improvise a little bit just for you to listen, and what you can do is hear how I'm doing this. I'm going to be landing on chord notes and playing melodies in the process, okay? So 1, 2, here I go. Understand what I was doing there, what you can easily do is pull up Taylor Swift's original version, look at this same chord guide, and you will be able to solo freely over her song in an improvisation sort of manner. And so that can be really fun. In fact, it's something that I often enjoy doing in order to get to know my instrument. I hope you've enjoyed this. There's so many ways you can take this, so many different areas you can spread it to. The arpeggios can be really taken to so many different places if you want to. You can also move the range. You can take the bottom note, put it up an octave. You can take the top note, put it down an octave. You can find all those little spots in between. You can use passing tones. Basically everything you learned in your music theory class, you can kind of apply to this, and it's just a way of applying those things that you've learned in a way that's musical. So I highly suggest that you use this method, and if you want more information, you can check out my website and give me a subscription and a follow. Thanks.